Yeah.
Okay, I got the recording going. I guess everybody's here that's going to get here for now. We might have some stragglers coming in and all. How's everybody doing? It's our magical tarot workshop here. We've been talking a lot before we started the recording. Lots of stuff. Oh boy. So Sharonah, are you ready to get started?
Yes. Is everyone ready to rock and roll?
Okay, I'm gonna.
You are. Let's begin. Okay, welcome to Tarot Magic. And the way that I describe this is there's no need for, you don't need to have ceremonial robes or candles or, incense. You can do magic with a tarot deck and you have everything that you need there. And it is it's a really great way of doing magic. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I like to do my classes where there's lots of laughter and a lot of fun, because when you laugh, that's when you raise your vibrations. So I want everyone to laugh. Just give out because we're going to raise our vibrations. Laugh, everyone. So get it out. And laughter is really good for raising the vibrations of magic. And also you get rid of all the dark energies. And I learned this from my grandmother, who was she read the cards, not the tarot, the regular deck. But she used to have a saying that if the devil crosses your path, if you laugh at him, he'll go away. So it works with the tarot too. So laughter is a very, very powerful form of magic. And so is tarot. Now, I got into tarot and magic fairly early on in my tarot journey. When I moved to New York, someone noticed that I was working in the garment center as a designer, and they found out I had a tarot deck. And they said, there's someone you've got to meet. There's this guy, he lives in the Ansonia Hotel, which at that time was a famous hotel, which was at 74th and Broadway. And he teaches tarot. You got to meet up with this guy. And he is quite famous. If you look him up, his name, Clifford Baez, and he wrote many books. You can still find them on Amazon as used books. He's long gone. He's over in the spirit world. I think he's watching. Hi, Cliff. And he was the one, he taught me Kabbalah and astrology and how to read the tarot. And so what I'm going to be doing today is kind of an introduction to tarot magic. And want to give a big shout out to Cliff, where I know you're here and you're helping me do this. Now, what is magic? And the first thing that he taught me was that we're all doing magic, whether or not we know it or not. Okay. And what you want to do is be conscious with your intentions and look for the signs, because every moment of our life is magic, and there's magic going around all around us. So the cards are an excellent tool for focusing your intentions, because tarot it's a language, and it's also a scripture. It's kind of like, if you're into the tarot, it's like a Bible. And it's a pathway, because you have to figure that these are symbols that people use like a language, and a pathway has been formed with the meaning of the cards. And magic I like to say is it's about creating change. Someone just came in. I see iPhone just came in. Hi there. Okay, because what we're going to do is I'll periodically say, let's, anyone have any questions? Anyone want to add anything? But let me just get through the basics. What is magic? Magic is a tool for creating desired change and working with change in our lives. And tarot to me that's what tarot is about. It's about understanding the change and cycles with our life. And you use the tarot cards as a tool for focusing it. And this is a way, as I said, you don't need ceremonial robes. You don't need incense. You don't need candles. It's a very simple, effective tool, and it works because it is a pathway. And it's a way of, speaking with whatever you call, whatever power that you use. And one of the most powerful cards in the deck is the Magician. And if you look in there, this is really the tarot that you see on his table. You see the 4 suits, and he's pointing to spirit above and below. So this is a really, really, really powerful card, and it's really how magic works. And what I recommend is, if you're a tarot reader, it's a perfect tool because if you do tarot magic, your readings will become better and vice versa. It's a way of really internalizing the tarot and having it speak and act through you. So the side benefit of doing tarot magic is you will automatically become a better reader. Now, each of the 78 cards in a tarot deck, it holds a distinctly different energy. And what that energy is what you will start to feel with that card. And it will support your magical intention. And there's ways, today we're going to talk primarily about using a single card where it almost becomes, I think everyone is familiar with vision boards. That's a board when you want to bring something into your life, you cut out pictures and you paste it on a board. Well, if a card is a tiny little vision board. So if your goal is to become a magician, this is your vision board. And by looking at this card and focusing on it every day, every night, or whenever you want to use it, you will become a more powerful magician. And okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to talk a little bit about magic. And basically, there's 2 forms of magic. The 2 branches or 2 forms or 2 branches. And they are what we call high magic, which is ceremonial magic. And there's practical magic, which is called low magic. So today we're probably working within the branch of what we call low magic. Now, ceremonial magic is a type of magic that it depends upon learning precise and complicated ritual and intricate sets of correspondences, numerology, Enochian magic, which is calling in angels, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, astrology. They all play a big part in that. And for those of you that I'll do a plug for, I'll be getting more into those things and how you use that in your readings and in your magic when you tune in next month and in July, when I'll be teaching astrology and then Kabbalah. But it's important to know about ceremonial magic, particularly if you work with this deck. And that was from the Hermetic Golden Dawn. And the deck that was designed by A.E. Waite and illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith. It's all based on it. And I recommend, if you're going to be doing magic work, it's a really good one to use because it actually, I believe, was designed not primarily for divination. It was also designed as a little magical library, a little magical temple that you could carry in your pocket. So, I strongly recommend that you work with that deck. That is any one of the Rider Waite Smith decks. Now, the one that I particularly like to work with, because it's a very unique deck, I don't use it for divination, but I use it for my magic, is a deck called the Albano Waite deck. So I don't know, did everyone print out their handouts? I have all the resources and everything at the back. I recommend that if this is your deck for magic, you use it only for magic. Okay.
Oh, I forgot. Just wanted to pop in real quick here. Let me grab that for everybody. I had it up and we got to talking and I just completely forgot to put that link in here. Most of you probably already have been to the page that has, sorry, I'm trying to get to it. Has the, it's the same page that had the Zoom link to get in here, has the PDF handout. But I'm going to copy the link here and put it in. There we go. Okay, so there's the link to the handout, and all the resources on the handout are actually, I went ahead and linked them all for you as well. All set, Sharonah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dax. Thank you. So getting back to the two types, as I said, ceremonial magic, it mainly involves, and highly recommend if you can ever go see a Golden Dawn ritual, run and go and see it. But it involves more invoking and controlling spirits and other entities. And the main purpose is performing high magic, which is to bring the practitioner closer to the divine itself. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is what's known as low magic. And low magic is, I call it practical magic. And that's magical activities that you use to achieve a practical, usually a material result, where you want to bring through money, you want to bring through security. So that's known as low magic. And low magic usually involves, it's doing focusing, making charms and making talisman, which you can do with tarot cards, something that's really fun to do. And, working with getting a desired material result. Now, what we're going to be doing today is using low magic with the tarot cards, which I like to call practical intention conscious magic. And okay, let's pause for a moment and talk about tarot ethics. Now, I have a feeling when I said there was two types of magic, you probably thought of two other types of magic, right? Anyone want to add anything, shout out anything? Because usually when I used to teach this with a group, they used to say, oh, sex magic. Yeah, well, sex magic actually falls into both categories. When I used to teach this at the Casey Center here in New York, I always would get people who would shout out black magic and white magic. And the one thing that I want to say is magic is really colorblind. Magic, if you work it, it's all about, creating what you want. So I like to say there is no black or white magic. Magic is colorblind, but there are ethics that join in with magic. And what I like to tell people is someone raised, okay, so I'm just going, I recommend that you use magic only for yourself and only for your immediate family. And the reason for that is when you do magic, whatever you send out comes back at you. So if you're doing it for yourself, know that whatever you're sending out is going to come back at you. And magic is very powerful. And I also recommend that you do your own magic. And one of the things that I believe is that you should never let anyone talk you into having them do magic for you. Okay. And the other thing that I recommend, and if you read tarot, it will come up. People will ask you, can you, I know you read tarot, can you do some magic for me? And what I strongly recommend that you do, and this is very good for your tarot business, is I always tell people, I can teach you tarot and I can teach you how to do your own magic, but I don't do it for anyone because it's a personal thing. And it's also a karma thing. When you do magic for someone, you kind of tie yourself into their energy. So if anyone comes to you as a tarot reader, and they will, and they say, hey, can you do some, I don't like that card I got. Can you do some magic for me? You can just simply say, well, I do teach classes on how to read the tarot. I recommend that. I mean, I built most of my business by teaching. People would come to me for a reading and I go, hey, I also teach this. So I can teach you this. I can also teach you how to do your own magic. So I can teach you how to do your own mojo. So everyone, if you have your handouts, you can take them out, and we're just going to talk about one of the things that, whether you are working with cards or you're doing the more elaborate ceremonial magic, I always use the word mojo, I love that word, is you do want an altar. And that's because you want a space where you can focus your intention. So the basic altar that I recommend, and I make sure that I have one of these set up every morning, is you want to take your magician card, and then you want to put around the card in the four corners, you want to put the Ace of Pentacles, because what is that? You're calling in the powers of mind and air. And then you want to put up around the card, you're around the magician card, your Ace of Cups, which is water, emotions, intuition. And then in the other corner, you want to put your Ace of Swords, which is air, which is thought, which is communication. And in the other corner, you want to put up your Ace of Pentacles, which is the physical world, which is money, the physical body, resources. And you have an altar. You have the beginnings of a surface in which to work your magic. You can leave it set up that way, but you can also start to bring in another card. And what I like to do, for me, my favorite card is the Sun card. So I like to place that next to the magician. And this is my ritual that I do every morning when I get up. Just like at night, because I like to receive messages, I change that altar and I will put up my high priestess because I want to have sweet intuitive dreams. So at the center of my altar, I'm going to put the high priestess. And in the corners, because I want to get messages in while I'm sleeping, I will put up the Page of Wands because he is the messenger from the realm of fire. And then I'll put up the Page of Cups, the messenger from the realm of water, and the Page of Swords, the messenger from air. And in the other corner, I will put up the Page of Pentacles. And if there's something that while I'm sleeping on that I want to receive an answer on when I'm sleeping, and I'm doing my sleeping magic, last night I put on my altar the Hierophant card. And that was to enable me to get any ideas that I might need to use as a teacher, as a mentor, because to me, this is a card that is very powerful for passing on traditional learning. So that's kind of my ritual. And during the day, something that you might want to do is, since the hardest thing that we have to deal with is change, but also as magicians, we want to embrace change. Change is a good thing, but we want to learn how to use it. You can redo your altar again as part of your little ritual. And in the center, you can put the wheel, because the whole thing with the wheel is it's the turning of the wheel. And it's all about balance, that you want to be where the axle is. You want to be at the center of the wheel, that you can watch it and you can watch it moving around you, and you're not on the edges where you're going to be crushed. So that's kind of about doing things. So once again, with that altar, what I like to put up would be in one corner, I'll put up the Knight of Wands for fire, because knights do stuff. We're talking about doing stuff magic. And in the other corner, I'll put up the Knight of Cups. And in another corner, and it's really fun if you have a small deck of cards, because it's easier to carry with you. But right now I'm using my larger cards, and you put up the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, because we're talking about doing some magic during the day. And cards that I might add to it, I might add, if I want balance, if it's change that I want to be able to deal with, I might then lay on top of it the Temperance card, which is all about balance, kind of, being between the different realms. But if it's like change where I want action, you might want to put up the card, which is the Chariot. So just going to stop here and see if anyone has any questions. So Dax, I can only see me, so I don't know whether, does anyone have their hand up? Anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to add anything? Is anyone there? Hello?
We're here.
Hi, anyone have any questions? Anyone want to add?
We all ran away.
I'm going, oh my goodness, I
So
also,
far, so good.
banishing magic, but I didn't want to banish you. I want you here. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Okay, so question from, I don't know who that is. Who's on iPhone? This is iPhone.
Hey, it's Vita.
Oh, it's Vita. Okay, I thought it might be
Hi.
you, but I wasn't sure. What's your question?
Yeah, so the other day I tried for the first time to do a reading for somebody that has passed. And I feel like it was a successful reading, and so did my client. But then I felt like I needed to give him some kind of magic spell to help the client's passed on loved one ascend back to the spirit realm. Like she's stuck here around, and like her soul is lost basically. and I felt like I needed to tell him to do a full moon ritual with fire. I just wanted to know your take on that, like using tarot as magic in that way to help people like release energies, or like, do you prescribe stuff like that for clients after you give them a reading?
No, what I usually do, like as I said earlier, is if you do magic for someone, you're tied into their energy. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was giving him like a kind of prescription, like I was based on a tarot card. He needed something of hers, he needed some herbs and fire, of course. And I was just using the tarot card that he got, based, like I was using that to give clues as to what he needed to do for this ritual.
Okay, did he ask for it? I mean, it's very important that you know, it's prescribing.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound, Sharonah, like she's actually like, Vita's not doing it. She's just giving
No.
it to
Yeah,
him.
let
to
the
do, so
other
I think
person
that's
do it.
okay.
That's okay if the other person does it. And it's
Yeah.
also a great opportunity to, we always want, you want people to come back to you and so that you can help them. Always mention that this is something that you teach, both the reading of the cards and how to use the tarot and the cards to help you. So that's fine if the person does it. You want to be careful. I kind of stay away from the magic where, because I have people that contact me and they'll say, will you do this for me? And how much do you charge for it? And you want to kind of be careful. That's like kind of like an area that can get kind of icky.
Yeah, he did ask me how to help her soul go to rest, like go to the spirit world. And so I was giving him like things to bring to his ritual based on the tarot cards. So that was all intuition, and that was my first time doing it. But I was just wondering if that's a thing that people do, like give people prescriptions based on their cards kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's one of, and it's like, it's one of the areas where I live in New York and you have to, people can you can get in trouble for that. I mean, there's people that, that remove that say they can remove a curse and you have to, give them your life savings. So that's where it's better if you say, well, I teach classes, something that's reasonable, but don't be a curse remover. Don't stray into that territory. And keep in mind, when you do magic, I try to tell people you do your own magic, learn how to do it because it comes back to you. Okay. Whatever. So, I always with myself try to send out positive magic, but if it ever, but it's for me because I know it's going to come right back at me. So keep that in mind. Magic is a boomerang. That was what Cliff used to tell me. He said, with magic is a boomerang. So whatever you send out, it's going to come back to you. Cool. So you don't want to, but no, that sounds like you're okay.
Well, that's good to know for future reference. Like, it's way better to teach somebody to do it themselves than. And then do you charge people extra for teaching them how to do their own ritual?
Oh yeah, that's another class. That's a class that you can say, today I'm going to, we're doing a reading. I'm giving you some advice, but it sounds like you really like the cards. You really like magic. I want you to know that, I teach this, and then you can figure out what you're going to charge for that. In fact, I have so many tarot cards. I'm going to talk about also how you can empower a tarot card as a talisman. And sometimes when I do a reading,
Ooh.
I have extra cards.
That's
I will
cool.
give someone a card and say, here's the card. I want you, what you need in your life is balance. And I happen to have an extra temperance card. And all of my giveaway cards, I have on the back of it a sticker with my information.
Which
And
is
here's
really
where you
smart,
get, here's where you can get in, you can get in touch with me and learn more about what I do. Because I always tell people, I read the cards, but I want everyone to read the cards. It's not just me. Let's all read the cards. Let's all read for each other. And I can teach you. Yeah.
So when I don't have an extra card, what I do is I just print it out on my printer and then I laminate it and I put the same thing as you. I put the information on the back, and oh my God, that's such a great thing for, because you're giving them something and then they're gonna, because the nature of it, it's like a business card, but it's not. So it's not going to end up in the circular file like most business cards. They're going to hold on to that and they're going to show it to their friends, and their friends are going to like, oh, give me that information in the back.
Well, I can tell you a funny story. Years ago, when I was much younger, I had one of those on me and I must have dropped it on the subway. And I had someone call me and said, I found this card on the subway. Can you do a reading for me? So, so throw your cards all around. So it's kind of a fun thing to do that and just kind of plant cards wherever you go, a positive card, put up, leave a sun card on a rainy day with your information on it. And it's the most effective business tool, particularly if you empower it with that intent. So when everything that you touch has your intent on. So kind of look at it and say, hey, I'm going to put that out there. But getting back to the magic part about the altar, you notice that we always start, there's 5 things on the altar, right? And what is 5 in tarot? The number 5 is what?
It means man.
Yeah, man. And what else? Change.
High energy.
High energy and change. So that's what we do as magicians. And if you think about the pentagram, 5 points. So it's the 5 points of where you have your fire, you have your water, and you have your air, and your earth, and you have spirit. So 5 is a very, powerful number. And when you do spells with cards, generally I will work with 1 card is very powerful. 5 cards is even more powerful. We'll get a little bit more into that. But 5 is a very powerful number. So I talked to you about my morning altar. I highly recommend that you do that when you get up for meditation. Set up a morning altar, put your cards on it. I put the magician in the center and then pop on it something that you want to bring in later on the afternoon. You can change it and do one before you go to bed. Single card magic is one of the most, Dax is the question. Yeah.
I got an early morning thing. I want Ellie to come over to my house every morning and shuffle my decks for me. She does it so great. I'm watching her as she's listening and it's like, I can't shuffle that good.
You can practice.
I've been practicing for 30 years and I can't make it work. I just want Ellie to come and shuffle my decks for me. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, if you, it's interesting, people who do card magic are really good at shuffling the cards, but it's something that you can do with practice. But I don't know how good it is. Like if you have these cards, you can shuffle pretty good. But for those of you who have the fancy like Hay House cards, you're going to bend them if you shuffle them, no matter how good you are at it. But single card magic is really powerful, because you put a card on your altar and it becomes like a vision board. You can carry a card with you. And like Dax was saying, if you don't have extra cards, you can take a picture of the card with your phone and carry that card around with you so you can look at it during the day. And it becomes like a meditation focal point. And I even use them when I do Reiki on myself. I will use the card. I will Reiki myself with the card. So I love the sun card. So like I use that. It's a good card for healing. So if you have a headache, you can take the sun card and put it on your head. You can use it that way. And you can also use it. I'm an artist and a designer. So a lot of my artwork, tarot cards figure into it. So, I cut up old tarot cards and make collages. I use them to make jewelry. It's a very creative way. I mean, whatever way that you can bring the cards into whatever you do, it will increase your magical mojo. So let's kind of like do some thoughts on what you can do with your cards. Now, this is practical magic. So let's talk about some single card stuff you can do for money. So if you look on your sheet, I have, if you want more money, a good card to use would be, because you want to get a message about money. Say you want to get a check back. You want to focus on the Page of Pentacles. Can anyone else bring to mind another card that might be good if you want to bring money in? Just a single card. A lot of people, I don't see any hands up, but here's a good one. If you want to, like this is if you want to, you have some bills and stuff that you want to balance. This is a good card. Also, the Four of Pentacles, which is a lot of people read this as being the miser card. You could actually look at it as someone who knows how to take care of their money. So it's all, the meanings and everything that you attach to them. Now, and that's if you want financial independence, a card, I'm just giving you the cards that have worked for me. This is the card that I have focused on most of my life because my thing was I wanted to be able to retire and have money. Also, the another good one, if you want to have money in your life, is this one. The only thing is you want to, I used to use this all the time, and then I said, she's alone. So you might want to bring another person into the card. But that's an excellent card if you want financial independence. Let's see what else I have here. If you want to raise the Wheel of Fortune, that's a great card if you go to a casino. So if any of you were going to plan on going gambling, focus on the Wheel of Fortune. If you want to pay off debts, a good card, like say the IRS is asking you for money, this is a good one to focus on, which is the Six of Pentacles. You just want to get creative. Let's see if anyone is putting up any ideas. I mean, it ultimately comes down to, because I said, you're doing magic for yourself. So it's what the cards mean to you. Okay, let's say if you want to find, since we're on money, you want to find a new job. You want to get busy. This is a
Mary's
good one.
got her hand up too, by the way.
Mary. Hi, Mary. What would you like to add? Come on in.
Hello. This is awesome. I do have a question about, because this comes up so often, and I'm sure for you too, the idea of getting paid to do what you love. Now, would you use a pentacle card with a cup card, or like how do you think that would be best represented?
Well, let's put our minds to this. I mean, generally, this is a good one, doing what you love and having a good team around you. But you can also add extra cards to it. So I would say, if you want to have some fun with it, you could add in this to, have some fun. Also, if you want to have people cheer you on, you might want to bring in the Six of Wands. You just need to, think about what the cards mean to you. So this could be a multi-card, reading. So you could like finding a job where you're good at it, being with a good group of people where you have fun. And then this one, where you're getting recognized for the efforts of your work. And, you can have all kinds of fun. Like if you need it really quick, you can like add this card in there. This is where it's really good for a card reader, because you start to kind of understand the cards and how they all fit together and make a story. But yeah, I use this one a lot if I want something quick. If you want money quick, you can, put this one on the altar along with the Page of Pentacles, and it works. You will, I have had great success stories with doing this, and, been able to do things. So, like say, if you want to be the boss, the Emperor card is a good card. If you want to have be a leader, and of course, collaboration in a project, the good old Three of Pentacles. But yeah, as many cards as you can bring in. So like you're bringing in, if you do bring in extra cards, it's fun to bring in, okay, I'm bringing in Earth. Let me bring in some fire. Let me bring in some love. So yeah, you can mix it up. So yeah, and speaking of love, if you want to attract the perfect lover, what better card than the Lover's card? And if you want to kind of spice up a relationship, what better card? Hey, the Devil's not so bad. Maybe you want some good sex. So, it's really, what gives you joy? What's fun? If you want to receive a love message, the Page of Cups. So you'll find that you'll start to understand the cards. You want harmony in your families, the Ten of Cups. If you want a good family reunion, the Six of Cups. These are all different cards that come to mind that you can work with. With health and well-being, as I said, I love the Sun. The Sun card is just such a great card. And you can Reiki yourself with it. It works great on a headache to rub yourself with the card. If you want relaxation, a good card to you might want to pull up would be, let's see, where did I mixed up all my cards here. So I'm just going to shout it out because one thing you'll find is you'll start to kind of memorize them in your head. So you almost don't need cards. You want to relax, it's go pull up your Four of Swords. If you want courage, the Strength card. If you want a fresh start, who's better for a fresh start than the Fool card? So it's getting, familiar with the deck. If you want to look at something, things aren't going right, and you want to look at it from a different perspective, there's your Fool card. So just getting that you're very fluent with your deck. If you want the world, hey, I don't know. A lot of people say they want the world, but George Carlin used to say, or was it Lily Tomlin, why would you want the world? You have no place to put it. But if you do, you can put the World card on your altar. But you can just really have fun with really have fun with the cards. And also, the so-called bad cards. If you want to, if there's something that you don't like, if it's a card that you want to move through, you can turn it upside down. that always works too. You know, if you can't find the perfect card for what you want, find a card that shows what you don't want, and you can turn it upside down. And of course, if you want to move away from it, you could also put on there what is it? The Six of Swords, the boat people, the people in the boat where they're moving away from the rough waters to the peaceful waters. So there's really so much, there's a lot you can do. If you want safe travel, if you're traveling, you know, the chariot, if you want, you know, I think I said good luck in a casino, you can put up the Wheel of Fortune. So that's just using a single card. We kind of talked about how you could bring in extra cards, which is known as a multi-card spell. Now, hello, we have someone coming in. Okay, so, you know, that's some ideas for doing single cards, multiple cards. Say if you want to catch a thief, you could take the Seven of Swords, you know, which is the thief card. You can turn him upside down. If you want to bring him to justice, you can bring in the Justice card. And if you want to get all your property back, let's say, I'm just going to grab some cards, then you can put up the Four of Wands. So, you know, it's creating a story. One of the other things that comes up is significators. So I'm not doing astrology today. So the easiest thing to do is like, say, like I like to use, for me, if I'm going to use the easy astrology, but it actually is my card, I use the Queen of Wands. You know, that's for fire sign woman. You can use a king, the King of Wands for fire side male. This is like if you actually within your, remember, once again, ethics, but if you want to bring someone else into your spell, remember ethics, what comes back to you, it is possible to do something to bring a union between two people, or also to clear the air. So that's where you could use like a significator card. Or you could use, if you're, what's popular, you could use just, I like to use nowadays, I like to use the knight cards because they're kind of, a knight is really kind of gender neutral. It can be a man or it can be a woman, can be a knight. And remember, your wands are your fire signs, your cups are your water signs, your swords are your air signs, and your pentacles are your earth signs. So that's basically everything in a nutshell. And before I go over any resources, anyone want to add anything to this? I mean, who here besides me and Vita is doing tarot magic? I think, as I said, we're all doing it, whether or not we know we're doing it or not. So this is just a way of making yourself more conscious that you're doing it. Yes.
And been doing it for a long time.
Yep. I think they got the idea from the vision board, you know, from tarot cards. I really think so. Because everything is there. But it's important to keep, you know, a dedicated deck. And, you know, any of the ones that were, you know, the artwork and the architecture of the deck was designed by Wade and Smith. These are very powerful symbols. I mean, if you take one thing out of this card, I mean, I love the new cards that come out. I think they're wonderful, but they're newer. This is like for 100 years, this card has meant this. So this little wreath here, if you take this away, it changes the magic of a card. So I I always recommend, because most of my training in magic was based on the Golden Dawn. So it's definitely the Waite Smith deck and any version of it. And definitely the, as you can see, these are really, look, it's a fire card. So you don't have a blue background here. You have a fiery background. The Albano Waite deck is just a wonderful magical deck to work with. And I'm like an old hippie, so it's very trippy. So, I love the colors there. But I should tell you there is another deck that a lot of people use, but I am not schooled in how to use that deck. But Crowley also has a deck. I never know how to say it right, the Toff deck, but it's a completely different system. So I don't work with that one, but that is another one that a lot of magicians work with that one. But you have to understand, basically, he took a lot of stuff that Waite did and he flipped it opposite. So it's kind of like someone said, if you want to understand this deck, just look at it in the opposite way. But it is a very beautiful deck. And that's the one that Crowley designed with Lady Frida Harris. But when I teach tarot, because that's the one that I know, it's the Waite Smith deck, some version of that. Anyone want to add anything? Does anyone want us as a group to come up with some magic for them? Who needs some magic?
I need magic. It's really, but I wanted to just add something that was coming up for me as this was going on, because I like the affirmation board and I like the magic and everything that you've spoken about. But is it Vita or Veda? The iPhone.
iPhone. That's Vita.
Vita, are you
Vita.
there? Vita, are you there? Okay, maybe she left.
She's on mute. She's got herself muted. I'm going to unmute her.
Oh, yes.
There she
Hi,
is.
hi, Vita. It's Rini.
Hi.
I was listening
Hi,
to your
Rini.
hi, and I see a lot of your emails come through, so I do follow you a bit. But something that came up
Awesome.
to me when you were asking your question, and it really came up really deep. So, and I think it's linked. Maybe it's important, maybe it's not. Dax can help me with that. But one thing, when I do have a question similar to yours that you asked, is I go back to the Tarot Guild policy and procedures, and I read that very thoroughly, because as a certified, member, a tarot card member, there's certain protocol, and I know that Sharonah mentioned about be cautious or be mindful that one doesn't slip past something that could be associated with the example that she gave. And so to answer your question, what was coming up for me is when we blend this tarot deck or any tarot and our association, because we have to also keep in mind of the other members and what they may represent or how they may use their membership. And so when I go offside for something, let's say it's one of my other things that I have been qualified in, is number one is I will do sort of a mini disclosure, like this is not part of a tarot reading, but it's something that, I either A, do personally, or B, I've been trained in this, or I give a disclosure. And so that might help you. And the other thing is also to go into that spiritual realm. I think it takes a level of discernment. And I'm not so sure if the person you were reading for was a stranger or a good friend. But if it was a stranger,
He was an acquaintance.
Yeah, I think I would come up with some sort of ABC or 1, 2, 3 discernment, because sometimes people just, I don't know. It's up for you to decide, but those are the 2 words that came up: disclosure, discernment. And remember, as Sharonah said, it is your sacred space. So be mindful of that as well. So I don't know if any of that helps you, but I would be reading the policy and procedures that the Tarot Guild has for us as membership. And there might even be something there that might twig you to help you do as your question was, who does this and should we? And the word prescription is medical, so there's probably a better word.
Oh, I
but
see what you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah, you might want
that's
to
a
use,
good
you're
point.
not crossing over the
I
border
just
line.
didn't know what else to call it though. But
Mhm.
also I wasn't trying to charge this person extra. I did know I do know him. He's a neighbor of mine, and I did know his passed on loved one, his wife. And but I know that there's a lot of other people that try to sell, they try to take advantage of people like him who are hurting, who are in need, and they're like, oh, I just don't know what other word to use besides prescribe. Well, but I've heard of people like prescribing, like, just do this and this and this, and let me sell you this whole kit, this whole spell kit, and you have to call me back and blah blah blah. Like,
Well, I wouldn't use the word prescription. I
so-
think the words you used are really important. It's because that's, I used to work at a place in New York where we would have the cops would come in and check that we were saying the right thing. You really can't use prescribe because that the doctors
wow.
own that word. You can say, I can guide you. So in New York, it's like we give spiritual guidance or entertainment. So it, we used to laugh when we would have like psychic fairs, and it was funny because a couple of the people who were working it actually had connections with the police department. But you would just say, it's I'm offering you, this is help, spiritual help and entertainment, and that's where you put it. But prescribe certain words, we don't heal, we don't prescribe, we help, we guide, and that's, so you have to be careful. Those are words that the medical profession adds. And they
The
train.
other thing I
Yeah.
wanted to add, sorry about that noise, you guys, everything on my table just fell off. I phoned Vita. The other thing that was coming up was that in your jurisdiction, wherever you live, there will be rules and regulations. The second that you receive money from another individual to be paid for a service, you must meet the standards of your jurisdiction. So you must be qualified. So you're crossing over, like entertainment, tarot cards is accepted in a lot of jurisdiction these days. Astrology is accepted, but things that you're talking about might have a restriction on, especially when you cross into the psychology field, to start to advise someone psychologically, and then is that spiritual? So you might want to do some research there. So I personally refrain and stay focused on tarot unless I am, truly qualified in another field and I have my certificates in it. And the reason is because of liability, and also because you could be committing an offense in your own jurisdiction and not even know it. So I think it's an excellent question. And I think, what Sharonah or Dax want to add, or Mary or whoever, I think it's good for us all to understand this or hear more.
Yeah, that's why I say do magic for yourself. You can teach people. It's perfectly legal to teach magic, but and charge for that. But don't charge for actually doing the magical act for the person. And then you can teach till the cows come home. But you're teaching people to do it for themselves. And, also the ethics thing, even if it's the most harmless, thing where you think you're helping someone, you are tying their energy into you. So, that's, something that you want to do. But tarot magic is great, doing it for yourself and doing it for yourself every day, to make to live a happier life. And that's the kind of magic that I'm talking about.
Ashley's got her hand up, and I also have something on the basically the legality parts. But Ashley, let's get Ashley's question.
More comment than question. The legality aspect is very important. I'm in Washington State. I'm a certified hypnotist. I cannot offer certain hypnotic modalities in the state of Washington without going through a separate accreditation process to
Mhm.
be a licensed
I was going to bring that thing
hypnotherapist.
up.
So I can be a certified hypnotist. I
Yeah.
am not a certified hypnotherapist, which means
Yeah.
I can't promote for weight loss or for smoking cessation or any other medical related condition.
Yeah, a lot of
So
different
that
places.
is something that has to be entirely separate from anything I can advertise for in
Yeah.
my hypnosis related businesses. The know your legal rights and standings in your jurisdiction is vitally important. And yes, New York is a cluster of rules. I have many
San
friends both
Francisco
in the
is too. You
city
have to have a
and in the
license.
state.
You have to have a
Yeah.
license in the city of San Francisco. You just like a massage therapist, you have to go down and get fingerprinted and get a
Yes.
license to read tarot cards.
Yes.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane, but
Well,
it's
it
different
is and it
where you
isn't.
are.
It is and it isn't. Yes, it's aggravating, but it's designed to help call out a lot of those bunco artists that all of these laws were put in place to stop and prevent. And that's where the whole prescription thing comes back into play as well. You know,
Mhm.
snake oil doctors were a really big thing at one point in this country. But yeah, research the laws in the state and the county where you are. Call up your state attorney general or secretary of state, whoever does your state business licensing, and ask them what requirements are. Some states don't require a license for a tarot reader, others do. Basically, anytime you're exchanging money for a service, you need to have a business license. But anyway,
Actually, just to add there, you will find the act itself on Google for your jurisdiction if you go under the Health Act of your state or your jurisdiction. And in the Health Act, they will go through, I mean, that's the closest that, probably the closest association that we would cross over. And in the Health Act, it will specify the limitations as you brought up and Dax brought up. So if somebody's trying to Google and can't get through to administration office that has the answer, Google the Health Act and read it. It might be a legal document that could be 300-400 pages long, maybe a couple of hundred pages, but then you'll really start to learn a lot.
Yeah.
and the
depends on what
simplest way to
country you're
trace
in,
that,
too.
the simplest search term for that is your state laws, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
But what I'm
tarot
talking
reading,
about is doing magic for yourself, folks.
yeah,
This
well,
is
that
what
too.
if you're, and that's why I said, what I'm teaching is how to be a happier, more, enjoy your tarot readings, that, bring
Absolutely.
prosperity into your life. I'm not
Yeah.
teaching you to do tarot, to do this for other people.
Right.
This is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing it
And
for
Magic
it will
for
change
yourself
your
is
life.
free.
It'll change the way that you read.
Absolutely.
So I want to just go over the resources. As I said, you want to have a dedicated deck if you're going to be doing it for magic. You don't mix the two of them. So the little decks are really good. This is a small the Centennial Wade Smith deck. That's a nice little deck if you want to set up a nice little altar, if you want to carry it around with you. And once again, I can't say enough about this deck, and I have it in there, the Albano weight deck. It is magical. Your magical workings for yourself will flow. And some good books that you need to have if you like this is one of my favorite books. The cover has changed. It's Tarot Spells, Janina Renee. Great book. How to do tarot spells. Also gets into the ethics. Another really good book, and We'll get into this one more when we get into astrology and Kabbalah, and tarot is this one. It's called Tarot Magic. And it gets into like, really how to start, really working this with astrology. I didn't get into, I wanted to keep it simple for today, but this gets into the astrological respect, like, okay, we have a full moon tonight, folks, a full moon eclipse. So definitely do some magic around it. It's the, what you want. And then remember, the moon gets smaller and then you vanish and you release stuff you don't want. You can't bring in anything unless you're also agreeing to let something go out. This is a really good book. This is Donald Tyson. So everything I have listed there. This is another book. I have this one down. This is Tarot Beyond the Basics. Also astrology, and it gets into the Golden Dawn names. These cards have some really cool names. So when you're talking about the cards, you might not just want to call it the devil or the world. They have a really cool name that was used in ceremonial magic. So I have all this at the back as far as your references.
I'm going to go ahead and pop that link in again, because I know some people came in late if they didn't get the handout. And then if you're watching this in archive, of course, the handout is linked right on the page, right below the video you're watching right now. Okay.
Sharon, it's Rini.
Hi.
I just love what you said about the eclipse tonight. I want to repeat it to make sure I got it right. I was taking notes. So on the eclipse tonight, which is water, it's a water earth eclipse, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very powerful. It's in Scorpio.
So and that's a good time to, okay, so we release tonight. So we could release, let's say, an emotional issue because that's water. But before we release, we release something, and we have to release something before we can bring in something new. And then what else did you say?
Well, what it is, you generally, if you want to do powerful spell work, you do it on a new moon. Okay. So, and then you focus on your spell. As the moon is growing, the power is going stronger. So it's going to be at its peak at the full moon. So you can bring some stuff. If there's something you want to, I think the full moon is at midnight, at least on the East Coast. So, right now you can focus on something that you want. And then anything that, whenever you want something, you have to let something go. So after the full moon, the moon gets smaller. And that's when you do your magic where you're letting stuff go. But what I'm going to be doing tonight, this is a great moon for intuition. So I'm certainly going to set up my altar with the high priestess in the center. My pages all around, so I get messages when I'm sleeping. And I'm going to ask for dreams to come tonight that I can use, that are going to be helpful. But I'm constantly trying to, bring things in, practical things into my life. So, that I've done earlier with the new moon.
Okay, so bring in something new with the full moon growing. And then once it's reached its peak, that's the time to then get into something or a list of something to let go.
Yeah.
In that order. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. If you want to bring change, you got to change means something's got to go to bring something in, or you wouldn't have enough room for it. I was like getting into that joke. I think, was it Lily Tomlin who said, you can't have everything because you don't have room for it. So that same thing with magic, you have to bring something in, you got to let something go.
Well, actually, I would have done it reverse. I would have let go first, and then I would have brought it. So
well, you're constantly doing it. It's a cycle over and over again. So like you get that opportunity. I mean, it's like the tides. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. So, and you can't, And you can't do, as long as your intent is good and you're doing it for yourself, you can't do it wrong.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for joining me.
Any other questions?
Thank you for presenting.
Yeah, this was fun.
It is. It's informative.
you.
Thank you.
All righty. I guess we're just-
Ashley is reading. I have a question for you. How are you holding up with your weather?
We haven't washed away yet. We're just having a lot of rain, that's all. We're leaving for Arizona on Thursday, and I'm dreading going from 60-degree temperatures to 105.
Oh, let me tell you, Ashley, I just checked and we just hit 104 where I'm at in Arizona.
We'll be in Phoenix.
It's going to be worse.
I know.
Yeah. I'm where it's cold. It's only 104.
Oh. Anything over 70, I start having heat stroke.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to that aspect of it.
Awesome.
There are reasons I live north of the 45th parallel.
Oh,
But it's where my granddaughters are, so
there you
I
go.
need to go. Yep.
Sharonah, before you leave, I have a question. It's
Okay.
Rini again, with
Yeah.
something that Ashley just said. Weather related tarot readings.
I don't, you want to
Just-
make
just
this
for-
weather?
Well, I feel, and just because I have you live, and you're so great at how you say things or how you think things through, because they make such logical sense, not just soul sense or emotional sense, but it's the left brain, right brain mix, which I think Einstein was good at. He could cross over and blend both. So from a logical side with a spiritual side, reading tarot cards in freezing cold weather in May with pouring rain that never stops versus doing a tarot reading on a sunny day in comfortable warmth, not too hot, but the readings must be different depending upon the temperature, I would think. Do you have anything that you've experienced or thought about? I'm just wondering, like sometimes I think when my back is to the north, I'm giving a more intuitive reading.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, we
I
didn't.
think you
touch
can
on the
overthink these things, Sharonah, though. It gets to a point, where you're really overthinking it. I do better readings when it's raining. I have my cup of coffee or my hot chocolate and I'm all comfy and the rain's coming down and I'm pulling the cards, it depends on the individual person.
Because you get tropical rain up in the Pacific Northwest, it's the Arctic rain.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. We
sometimes
get
you
nice
just got to
rain.
do it. You just got to do it. It's like, that's where, the practical magic comes in. I mean, you read these books and they go, the moon has to be this way. You got to be facing this way. Sometimes you need to do something and you got to do it. So you do it.
No, it doesn't make any sense if you think about it. It's like, okay, client comes in, you need to do a reading for them. You can't say, come back next week when the moon is in Sagittarius and when it's a sunny day and not raining. I mean, come on. We're overthinking this stuff. Am I facing north? No, you have to move over a couple inches to the right because you're not facing the right way. That's insane.
Dax,
It's tarot.
You certainly can if you're an astrologer. It's the wrong time for this reading. You must come back on this day.
That's
the
why
moon
I'm
is
not
in
an
this house.
astrologer, Ashley.
But
I
it's
am,
Mercury
I'm sorry.
retrograde too, folks. So
I can do numbers and tarot cards any day of the week, any hour. It doesn't matter.
Dax's reading, I would have never asked you that question because I know that you come from your left brain. I only asked Sharonah because it is different for different people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you love to do your shuffling on the computer, and I don't know how I would ever read a computer shuffle deck because I feel the deck. And the
Yeah, I don't
Rider-Waite
feel anything. It doesn't matter. I could use any deck. I can use not a deck, and just, it could be images in my head. It could be digital up on a screen. It could be on the cell phone. It doesn't matter.
Rini, Rini, it's Mary. Can I just say something real quick? Because I get where you're coming from, because I've got crazy weather here too.
Sure,
But
I'd love it, Mary. I'd love it.
well, I don't think it's the weather outside. I think it's the weather within you, the weather within the client. And I would recommend working more with the directions if that is something that's resonating with you, and take a look at the medicine wheel and maybe get into that a little bit and think about things like if, like in my medicine wheel, the east is connected to air and the west is connected to water. Our emotions, our psychic abilities. So maybe work more with the directions rather than what the weather's going to do, because that has its own magic, so to speak. Just an idea.
Anybody got anything else? Looked like Ashley was going to say something. Her lips started to move there, you know. Well, I guess we'll stop the recording now. And that was a lot of fun. I'm glad you all could make it, because it's so much more fun when everybody's here and chatting about stuff, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm a
Thanks,
teacher
Sharonah.
and I'm a student too. So I learn through teaching, and that's part of the fun of being part of the Tarot Guild.
Yep. Always learning.